Kenny Florian predicts Rafael Fiziev versus Justin Gaethje. The fight that's almost guaranteed to be one of the most dynamic and explosive ones on this Saturday's card has really split fans and sports betting enthusiasts into two camps. One side believes this is pretty much Fiziev's fight to lose, and Justin's last devastating loss will most likely affect his ability to absorb punches, and he can't endure high-paced striking exchanges with Rafa for 15 minutes one more time. The other side doesn't see much difference between this one and the last time the two fought. Just the same clash with the same styles. And by the way, Fiziev is coming off a serious injury as well. If Fiziev does stick to a more disciplined game plan and isn't lured into close-range boxing exchanges again, his technical superiority and significant speed advantage should do the job, but he is pretty wild in the octagon, and a completely conservative approach from him would even be somewhat surprising. If he is able to break through and avenge his loss to Justin, we'll see a new force enter the top of the lightweight division. And considering what's already going on there, it would be great news.
Gaethje's going to fight the way Gaethje's going to fight, and there's no one in the world who's going to be able to change that, in my opinion. I think that based on that, now how durable is he going to be? What's his chin going to be like? Gaethje going out cold was not a great sign. He didn't just get knocked out. He got knocked out cold, and he was out for a while. Then this isn't his first time that he's, eaten a big shot. He's been eating big shots for a long time. The human body isn't necessarily built for that, and I don't think going against a guy like Rafael Fiziev, I made him Brazilian there, is going to be an easy fight. And I think Fiziev is a thinking man's fighter, and I'm sure he had a lot of thinking to do after that first fight against Gaethje. He can make adjustments. I don't think Gaethje's going to make a heck of a lot of adjustments based off of that. And for that reason, I like Fiziev in this spot. Not ideal given the circumstances, him coming in on short notice. That's an advantage for Gaethje for sure. But I do like Fiziev here, and rarely will you see me pick against Gaethje. So I'm going to go with the Russian here, sadly.
Tom Aspinall is getting desperate for a fight with Jon Jones, and he's trying to use every imaginable tactic to get Bones more interested in taking a fight with him. One of his latest posts included giving an update on the situation about the status of his unification bout with Jones, in which he states that he's basically still waiting for the UFC to provide him with an explanation on what's the delay on the fight being made. He speculates that at this time, Jon and UFC might be negotiating on the financial aspect. Jon himself hasn't made a comment about fighting Tom for a while now, since the last time he engaged with trolls on Twitter about it. He might be waiting for the outcome of Pereira versus Ankalaev to one more time call for a fight with Alex if he wins. Bisping and Felder share thoughts on Tom's video address to fans and Bones, Jon's silence on social media recently, and the possibility of Pereira moving up to fight Jones if he successfully defends his title this weekend.
Of course, there's a risk that Tom Aspinall knocks him out cold. But the fact that might be what's holding this up, the fact that he's worried about maybe getting knocked out, I think that's crazy, and it will affect his legacy. Now, maybe we're wrong. Maybe that's not what it is. Maybe he's just posturing. Maybe he's playing the game. Maybe he's negotiating the biggest purse.
Yeah,
but
I thought that for a while. But yeah, now it's like, come on, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like at some point, you just gotta accept the fight and let's set a date. Let's at least get something set in stone. And you kind of then. You were saying no, you didn't want him. Then you were kind of agreeing that, this fight can happen. And now has he said anything really? Jon's been pretty quiet about the whole situation, I feel.
He was threatening to kill someone on Instagram Live a few weeks ago.
Other than that,
He wasn't Tom Aspinall.
Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev have an intense exchange after crossing paths in UFC PI. The Russian channel Ushataika reported on this first. And according to Magomed's main sparring partner, when the two teams were walking past each other at the PI, Alex and Magomed started staring each other down. Then a couple of words were exchanged, and the two light heavyweights got closer to one another, but the teams broke it up and separated them. What was said and why is a different question, and the fact that none of these two speak English make this even more interesting. Ushataika managed to get an interview with Magomed after this happened, in which the Dagestani title contender described the incident. While he wasn't too eager to share details, he confirmed that this happened. Here's the whole exchange. The reporter asked Ankalaev, quote, "Your teammate Rasul said that you ran into Pereira here and you almost fought. Is that true? What happened?" And Magomed responded with, quote, "Yes, it was here in the hallway. He was walking with a crowd of his people and knew that it wasn't going to get to that point. But we exchanged words and whatever. It will be resolved very soon." End quote. Whether Ankalaev chooses to use his wrestling skills in this matchup, more or less because of this, we don't know. But the rivalry got certainly more heated now. The Brazilian is still the betting favorite over the challenger, and most likely will remain as such for the rest of the fight week. The lack of offensive wrestling and grappling showcased by Ankalaev in all of his UFC fights is something that doesn't give people confidence in his ability to do so against Alex, or even desire, as he's made contradictory statements about using his grappling in this upcoming bout. Share your predictions for this one in the comments. Chael Sonnen defends Michael Chandler after Dustin Poirier's comments, but admits he still wants to see a war between the two. In a recent appearance on a podcast, the former interim lightweight champion was asked many questions and given a range of topics to share thoughts about. Most of them had to do with Dustin's personal life, background, and early days of trying to become a fighter. Sort of a standard thing that journalists or podcast hosts not really familiar with the sport do when they interview popular fighters. But even in this scenario, Dustin found a way to take shots at Michael Chandler, one fighter that he despises and has never been willing to become cool with. His main criticism of Chandler is that he is fake, and plays a completely fabricated character of this good guy who is a company man and is kind and polite and a part-time motivational speaker. Chael Sonnen reacted to this, saying that even though he doesn't see the point Dustin is making, he would still love a war between these two.
Chandler had just approached him and told him, hey, by the way, I'm really a fan of you do such a great job. But then Chandler would do interviews and he would go back in that entertainment side. But some guys came away thinking Chandler was fake. And that's where I say he's misunderstood. Like, no, it's just the opposite. He's not fake at all. That's why he came up and let you know, yeah, here's what I'm doing and here's a little bit of what I'm going for. But don't take it maybe as personal as it says. That's actually what makes it so sincere and not fake. That's where the misunderstanding comes from. That's between them. I don't want to make peace between Chandler and Poirier. I want to make war. I'm happy and fine with the whole thing. But it was very interesting to hear Dustin state what his problem with Chandler was. Because if you really boil that down, there's nothing on it. He didn't curse at him. He didn't insult him. He didn't bring up the DMs. And if that's got Poirier upset, like, just how pissed off can that guy become?